Oh, sorry, the camera's off. I have low vision for those who don't know, but for those of you who tune in that know me, thank you for subscribing, and I really look forward to seeing you all soon in the next cool video. But today is going to be things that have happened that was strange. Back when I was in school, in elementary school, I played checkers with this one girl. I couldn't remember who it was, and fast forward to middle school. I started hanging out with this one girl, and then fast forward to high school and such and such. But come to find out, I ended up dating this person many years later. We dated for 7 years, and then I said to her one day, I said, "Do you remember that one girl we went to in elementary school and stuff?" And she's like, "What?" I said, "I used to always play checkers with her," and then she said, "Checkers on the floor, like by the chalkboard." I'm like, "Yeah," and she's like, "What, a big checkers blanket that was enlarged for you to play checkers?" I'm like, "Yeah, how do you know?" And she's like, "That was me." I'm like, "Wow, what a small world." Kind of found out that was my ex Ashley, but we are still best friends because I feel no matter what, you always stay friends because life is too short to hold hatred or anything, and it takes two to do wrong in a relationship. It is never one. It's always two people to do wrong, not one. It's both fault, not one. That's how I always say it too. But another funny small time when my mom and I lived on Best Road for about a half a year, I would say. We moved there. It was a rural road. There's only one kid around my age. Her name was Brandy, and her mom, Donna. Well, long story short, years later we moved somewhere else. Years later, we had them as neighbors again. It's like, LOL, what a small world. Now, I gotta say, the best place I lived is the place I lived at the longest as a child. It was at Snyder's Lake. When I lived near Snyder's Lake, that was awesome. I lived there for 4 years. Couldn't ask for a better area and a better group of friends. That was like awesome. I moved around a lot, as you all know, but the best friends I ever could have was on Snyder's Lake. But also, I have other best friends too. But the best friends I could ever live near was on Snyder's Lake, and it was like awesome. But another thing, bet you didn't know. Fast forward years later, this is gonna go back to another story. My mom and I were living in an apartment complex, and I recently bought a Ford Windstar for us to get around in. An old Windstar. It was red. It was beat. It was about ready to hit 300,000 miles. Got it for $500, which, yeah, $500 is a lot of money, but I got it. Long story short, and we got yelled at for someone for like in their way. I'm like, "What do you mean the car's in the way?" Because we were visiting a family member. Kind of find out my ex, before we dated, her mother got furniture and stuff, and they had to get a truck to go in the driveway where they were. And kind of find out it was my minivan in their way. And I'm like, "Wow, what a small world." I'm like, "You live next to my stepsister?" And they're like, "Yeah, Angela." I'm like, "Holy mackerel." Once again. And then come to find out we had the same friends that we always, well, growing up together, of course you had the same friends, but the same house that I used to hang out with, the same house they used to hang out at too, and never even knew it. It's like, wow. But long story short, I will be releasing tomorrow. I'm working on it right now. A music playlist, a music from my childhood. We'll say music from my childhood on the playlist, and I highly recommend checking it out. It will give you an idea of music that I grew up on, so you can get an idea of what I grew up on, and from the music I create too, it can show you all the mixture of music that I grew up on that helped me create music, how I do it. Music I usually create is based on life experiences and life things that I have learned, and I try and put in the songs to help others overcome obstacles in their ways. But I look forward to seeing you all in the next cool video. Don't forget to hit the subscribe. Don't forget to check out my channel. Look forward to seeing you all in the next cool video. Stay safe. Shutter.